Tuungane sote na tushereke pamoja ushindi kwa ukombozi wetu. Tujitoe wenyewe, tusimame pamoja kulinda uhuru na umoja wetu. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote tuimbe pamoja, kuenzi shikamano hatima yetu. Tujitoe wenyewe kupambana pamoja, uhuru na umoja vitawale. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote na tujibidishe kutoa kilicho bora kwa Afrika. Chimbuko la wanadamu, chemchemi ya utamaduni, tumaini letu wakati wa mafarakano. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima.
Today at Human TV Africa, we talk about Togo, a country with a family rule since 1967. Imagine a country having a family dynasty that came through a coup, came through a military junta, took over 1967, and up to now, one family rules this small country we call Togo. Welcome to Human TV Africa. My name is Katom Mukasa. In the studio is Dennis Bongole to do the production. Remember, Human TV Africa is part of Humanist Media Africa. We are a registered non-government organization, registered to do the work. We do media work. We do empower, inform, educate our audiences. We are a registered non-government organization working in different countries in Africa. We have studios in Uganda, Kenya, Zambia, Zimbabwe. We have studios in Nigeria and Ghana, Sierra Leone, UK, and US. And we are still growing. Our role is to educate, empower, inform, and get our audiences with better, well-researched, evidence-based information. Today, we talk about Togo under our profile, under our theme, country profile. Togo, a country in West Africa, one of those smallest countries in the world is Togo, with about 8.6 million people. Only 80 million people is Togo. This is the flag of Togo. We see a star there, red, green, and of course yellow right there, the colors of Togo. Now, Togo is a lovely country, as we're going to be seeing, one of those small countries in the world. It has about 56,785 square kilometers. It has 56,785 square kilometers. The capital city is Rome, and the major languages are French, Mina, Kabe, and Gomba. It is, of course, largely a Christian country. Now, Togo was ruled by the French. Until, of course, when the UN gave them the mandate from 1916 to 1960, when Togo got independence. They used to be called the French West Africa. Togo surrounds, as you can see in this map. Give me a minute here, Dennis, a minute to explain Togo. People to be able to see this map. The neighbors of Togo are Benin, Ghana, and of course, we see Burkina Faso. Now, Togo used to be part of Ghana so much that used to be called Togoland with Ghana. It was not separable from Ghana at one point in time. In terms of history, again, a minute right there, as you watch these maps coming in from Togo, I should tell you that Togo is a country in West Coast. It is a country in Africa's West Coast and is bordered by Ghana, Benin, and of course Burkina Faso. 8.6 million people. One of the smallest countries in the world is Togo. And of course, it has a width of less than 115 kilometers. That's the width. And of course, we see that this country was settled in by a people from the 18th to 16th centuries. Those people defined the Togo we see today. It was once called the Slave Coast. It had lots of slave dealings right there. It used to be called the Slave Coast, and it was a slave coast for European slave masters to do their trade in Africa. They used Togo that much. Now, Togo is a country that is known for its agriculture. It has lots of agriculture prowess right in Togo. It has, of course, things to do with food. Food in Togo is not a problem because basically what the colonists did was to prevent it from famine. They promoted millet. There's millet growing. There's sorghum, maize, yam, cassava, coke, coffee, shea, and cotton. All remain leading exports from Togo. Togo has gold and diamonds, limestone, and of course Togo has gypsum. It has iron ore, bauxite, manganese, zinc, rutile, marble, and more. Togo is mineral rich. It's a mineral-rich country. The major towns in Togo, of course, the capital city is Lome, but we have others. We have others like, of course, Atakapamne, Kapelin, Nose. Of course, there's Mono River right there. We have Faza, Basa. We have Kara. We have Kara River up there. We have Mango and Kere National Park. One of the biggest parks in Togo is called Keran National Park. There are many animals, lions, elephants, and giraffes, and all these animals can be found in Togo. Togo, I told you, in terms of population, what I get from World Bank is that there are 8.8 million people, 8 million people in Togo, almost 9 million people in Togo. Population growth rate is 2.3 annually. And of course, dependence is quite high. Age dependence is quite high at 75%. This is worrying. Urban population is only 43%, which is good because majority of the people are in the rural areas. Infant mortality rate is quite worrying at 43 per 1,000 live births. No, this is quite high. Infant mortality rate is high in Togo, 43 deaths every 1,000 live births. That is quite high. And of course, life expectancy is low at 61 years in Togo. That is Togo for you. And of course, age dependency, in terms of age distribution, a majority of people in Togo are between 15 to 64 years. 56% are between 15 to 64 years. Africa has a young population. I've been saying that, and I've been illustrating that in all my shows. Africa has a young population. Now, in terms of minerals, Togo, in terms of electricity, Togo has a bit of electricity there, and it does use some, doesn't export, of course. But interestingly, imports a little bit of electricity right there. And renewable energy is also there in Togo, based on those results. Now, in terms of technology, Togo has about 8 airports. That is data from 2018. And of course, cellular phones, people with cellular phones are about 6 million, and internet users are quite low at 877,000 people only. But that is data for 2016. Railways cover about 568 kilometers. And of course, telephones are also low. Office telephones at 37,691,000 telephones right there. Now, in terms of location, I told you, Togo is found in Western Africa, bordering the Benin, between Benin and of course Ghana. Total area is 56 785 square kilometers. Togo is one of the smallest countries in the world. It has, of course, water area, which covers 2,400 square kilometers. It has a coastline, lovely beaches. Coastline takes about 56 kilometers. The climate is tropical, hot, humid in the south, and of course, semi-arid in the north. The terrain is quite good, gentle, rolling savanna in the north. It's a beautiful country, Togo. Togo is a beautiful country, I should tell you. It has, of course, savanna in the north, the central hills, the southern plateau, the low coast plain, with, of course, extensive lagoons and marshes. The lowest point in Togo is the Atlantic Ocean, and of course, the highest point is the Monte Agua. That is data from the World Bank. I always get you data from the World Bank. I told you, Togo has lots of potential. Togo grows lots of agricultural products, as you can see right there in those photos. They have animals, they are good farmers. Togo is tropical, it's part of the tropical Africa. It's a beautiful country, good rains, good food, and of course, people do lots of farming there, tea and other things there in Togo. There, they grow a lot of coffee, coke, cassava, cotton, yam, maize, sorghum, shea butter, and others. Togo is a beautiful country with so many wild animals right there. You go there, you'll be able to get entertained with the leopards in the trees, the climbing leopards that climb trees, and of course, lots of elephants and some bit of elephants, some bit of lions. Of course, there are giraffes, quite many. Lions, the number of lions that was reducing in Togo right now, as I speak, the number of lions is reducing in Togo. But the other animals, right there, you can go and have a look in Togo. Togo, remember, Togo has about 44 languages spoken in Togo, and we've seen that Iwi language is one of the biggest languages spoken in Togo, and Kabylie. Those are the languages government accepts as being more of official or national languages. We have French, Iwi, Mina, Kabylie, and Angomba. Many of the Togolese are, of course, Christians right there. Togo was a part of French colony until from 1916 to 1916. It has some of the best beaches. Of course, Germans occupied occupation of Togo started in 1884. Remember the Berlin Conference? Yes, the German occupied Togo there. It became German Empire. It became a protectorate of the Germans from 1884 to 1914 until when Togo was given to French or the France. France took over Togo from the Germans. You can imagine, like a piece of cake. One country rules, occupies it, the Germans occupies it. Then after one time, they say, okay, now the French are going to take over. From 1914, the French took over Togo and Volta region of Ghana. They were once together and under the German rule. Togo has been ruled by the Germans, ruled by the French, and of course the British also took some part of Togo at one point. But Togo got their independence in 1960. Togo has beautiful villages, beautiful coastlines, beautiful beaches in Togo. I should recommend you to go to Togo. Let me tell you a bit about the politics of Togo. Togo is a troubled country. They got their independence in 1960, and that was on the 27th of April 1960. They got their independence. The leader was a man called Sylvanus Olympio. Sylvanus Olympio, the first president of Togo there. But that guy, Sylvanus Olympio, was assassinated by a military officer. The guy was killed in 1963. And who killed him? It is believed that Etienne Eyadema led the coup that killed the president, Sylvanus Olympio. Now, Eyadema became the president. He was a military ruler. Because he became the president in 1967. This one man's family, a man who killed the president to become a president, has been ruling this country since 1967. Think about it. And Togo is poor. The villages are in total chaos. There's no development in Togo in terms of real development. The country is poor. Now, this guy's family has been ruling Togo since 1967 after killing the president who was there. They killed Sylvanus Olympio, the president, they killed him in 1963, and this family took over power in Togo. This one family has ruled Togo since 1967. The father of this guy was a man called Etienne Eyedema, a military guy, became president in 1967. He ruled then until 2005. Now, when he died, his son, Gansbe Eyadema, who was born on 26 December 19, took over. This guy was born in June 1966, the current president of Togo. Fole Oslimana Gansbe Eyadema. He takes over from his father. His father joined others to kill the elected president, or the president who was legitimate in Togo. 1963, they killed him, and then they took over power. Now, since 1967, this man's one family has ruled Togo with an iron fist. They are taking much of the wealth from Togo and investing it elsewhere in the world, of course, in Europe and other countries. One family has ruled Togo since 1967, and it's a dynasty. It's a family dynasty. This one family here has ruled Togo since 1967. So Uganda, take notes. Museveni has ruled you since 1987. His son is coming to take over. But in Togo, this one family has ruled them since 1967. It is the longest family dynasty in Africa. The longest family dynasty in Africa is these guys. These are the guys here. They took over power in 1963, effectively 1967. One family has been ruling Togo. They organize sham elections, and they say, oh, they have been free and fair. And when people go to vote, 80% vote for them, 70% vote for them. But the question is, are those presidential elections free and fair? This one family has been ruling Togo. And Togo is one of the highly indebted poor countries, with 60% of their GDP into debt. 60% of their GDP is into debt. One of the heavily indebted poor countries in Africa is Togo. One family is ruling it. Togo itself is not secure because of insurrections, because of protests sometimes, and because of course, robbery, murder, violent crime. So when you go to Togo, people are poor and desperate. Crime is high in Togo. Beautiful country, beautiful sand dunes, beautiful beaches, but people are extremely poor and desperate. So go to Togo, be cautious. It's a good country, but one family is ruining this beautiful country in West Africa. Thank you for watching. It is Smart TV Africa, where we normally come and share with you information that you don't normally get on these platforms. It is Smart TV Africa. I want to encourage you to please subscribe, comment, share, like. See you in the next show.